Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 325. I'm Ben, and with me here today are the beautiful boys, as always. Brandon, let's pitch it to you first. You're looking very warm. Your lighting is like very warm. I don't know. I just gonna repeat myself. You look very warm.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, last week
I hate warmth.
yeah, that's okay.
I'm just
I have a really nice orange light in the background now, and I have my key light to be slightly more yellow than white.
yeah.
And I feel like it makes the red in me pop, you know what I'm saying, boys? One of the best qualities, one of the only admirable features about me, is my God-given hair color. So, I got to accentuate what I have, work with what you got, is what I always say, and what I tell women in the bedroom. You just got to work with what you got. And mostly I'm talking about the size of my bed. I only have a queen. I'd rather have a king.
Yeah.
You guys knew what I was talking about.
I
Um,
I kind of assumed just because I know you that
right.
you couldn't have been
Right.
possibly even talking about anything else.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. So a queen is fine. A queen is fine, but a king is better. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? The bed size, of course. But yeah, I'm doing all right, guys. I set an alarm today. I woke up about 10 minutes ago. Just the side of my face absolutely caked in drool. You guys ever wake up like that? It happens to me sometimes. My allergies are starting to kick up, and I'm like stereotypically a mouth breather to begin with. But because my allergies, people are cutting the grass, all this shit's blooming, I could feel it already, the itchy throat coming. I could feel it.
I've definitely had that happen. I would not say it's a common occurrence for me, but the allergies thing, I'm 37. I went like 32 years of my life without ever experiencing what people refer to as allergies or seasonal allergies or anything like that. I've never been allergic to any animals or medicine or anything. And in the last 5 years, my body's just said, you know what? We don't like pollen now. We don't like
Yeah.
whatever now. I don't know why my body is speaking in the plural, but it is.
It said, take a fucking hike. That's what it
So
said, dude. And like,
I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, but no, the drool thing, it's happened for sure. So I
yeah.
know where you're
Yeah.
coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, they say kick rocks, but I think that's kind of fun. So I think that's a bad saying. But yeah, dude, I'm doing pretty good. I feel pretty awake. Usually naps make me feel heinously bad, but I'm feeling quality tonight, and I have a happy feeling about the news we're talking about today. We'll get there. I'm
How
feeling good.
long was the snap you took?
Maybe like 40 minutes.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, maybe
When
like
people are
40
like, "Oh, I
minutes.
took a 10 or 15 minute power nap," I'm like, "Shut up! Nobody does that."
I would have such a hard time doing that. I feel like it's almost as if I wouldn't have slept at all. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It'd be like blinking to me. So 40 minutes, 30 minutes is nice. I feel like 40 minutes, sweet spot. When you're getting in around the hour mark, then you're starting to maybe fuck with some feelings. That's how I
Yeah,
feel because I just wake up feeling like a fucking menace after that. I'm angry at the world.
like over
Um,
45 minutes, you're putting the rest of your day at jeopardy.
Yes, yes, and the evening potentially, depending
That's
on
what I mean. Yeah,
how close that nap is to the
right.
nighttime. So, we don't want it. We don't want to dream. We don't want to get into REM state, boys. We just want to rejuvenate the body. Maybe that's why
Mhm.
I'm glowing. 40-minute nap is the key, boys. I didn't change anything. This isn't the new light. It's the glow. It's the 40-minute glow. Speaking of glowing, look at this guy up here.
Well, I was
Still
gonna
with the
say,
facial hair. Oh my god.
yeah,
I love it,
Dave.
Dave. I love it, Dave. So fucking handsome every week.
Dave, are you a nap guy? Because I have this kind of thing I say occasionally, and it's not really true because I sometimes will take a nap. But I think by and large naps are for bitches. What do you think, Dave?
No, I don't agree with that. I think
Okay.
I think the merits of naps cannot be argued. And I think if you time it right, if you get like a nice one in, you've cut the grass on a Sunday, and you just kind of lean back and close your eyes
Oh,
and just doze off during a baseball game, then that's awesome. And I have a really hard time napping though personally. Planes, car rides, warm Sunday afternoons. I have a hard time napping in general. And my problem is like when I have a nap, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour and a half, my body just doesn't understand the passage of time. when it comes to a nap. When I'm sleeping 8 hours a night, no problem at all, and I'm a very good sleeper. But just naps, I don't know, they just don't work for me. I just wake up in a panic state, like
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been sleeping for 20 minutes or 4 hours, and it's just not a good feeling. So I'm not much of a napper, you know.
I would agree with that. I don't like to take naps. In fact, I have some sort of disorder where I dislike the act of going to sleep. Like I will stay awake as long as I can, even if I mean, not usually if I'm getting tired, but like if it's time to go to bed, I don't want to go to bed. Like there's no part of me that's like, you hear some people like, I love sleeping. I don't like sleeping. It makes me anxious. I don't know. There's some psychological or physiological thing there we can explore a different day. But I don't really like sleeping. But the same way I don't really like naps. But what I will say is that if I sit down in the recliner in the early evening after dinner to watch a TV show or something with the kids, you know, and I fall asleep, that's the best kind of nap. Because I'll wake up pretty quickly. Like it's not like I'm going to sleep all night because my body isn't ready to. But that accidental nap, that's where it's key. As long as you don't have anything else going on.
Accidental sleep is key, Ben. I will say you are onto something. I can more easily fall asleep when I'm not trying to sleep. Like I'll fall asleep close to bed, and you know that probably has something to do with it. But I can easily fall asleep. Like I just got home, ate some dinner, fell asleep, no problem. Wasn't even necessarily trying to. I knew I might, so I set an alarm. At night, wide awake in bed. You know, hey, look, we're trying to go to sleep now. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
What is that, man? What is that?
I think for
Hell on
people-
earth.
Yeah.
Hell on earth is what it is.
It's your body not wanting to do what you want it to do. That's what it is.
Holy shit, that's been my problem my whole life. Oh my god. Blame the body, not the mind.
Yeah. I don't really understand it, but for some reason, if I fall asleep on the chair accidentally, it's perfect sleep. It feels great. Maybe I'll wake up and I have my neck like over to the side or something. If I were to sit down in front of the TV and try to fall asleep, it's not happening. It's not happening. But if I just sit down and like accidentally fall asleep, the best sleep I got all day, all week, you know?
I just have to put a YouTube video on that's just boring enough that I'm engaged but not quite engaged and get in a laying position. Out, dude. You ever see those guys that just like go into the woods and hollow out a log and then they make a little like hut then they bake a pumpkin or something?
I was on
like-
that tip
I'm
for
like,
a little
oh
while.
my god, this is so beautiful, and it's like in 4K on my big fucking HDR TV, and I'm like, Jesus, this is gorgeous. And then by like the first quarter goes by, and then autoplay. I wake up at 3 a.m. and it's still playing. Fucking, we've somehow got onto
Your
like
algorithm is all
yeah.
messed up, and all you're seeing is camping
Right.
videos.
right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst is when, or if you're watching like a series and things automatically start, not everything is like Netflix where it asks if you're still watching. And I'll start like watching some sitcom or something, and then I wake up and 3 episodes have gone by, and I'm like, well, now I don't remember not only what episode I was on, but where in that episode I was. So you look at the descriptions, and they're all like, the gang gets into trouble, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's all the episodes. I don't remember by that.
You're like, what day is it? That's what I'm like. So that's when I wake up thinking, what day, where am I? Whose
This
couch
isn't-
is this?
This isn't normally my experience, but sometimes I'll wake up and be like panicked on what time it is. And for a moment, I'm like, oh no, we're fine. I wasn't asleep that long. And it was 8 hours. That's when you have the problem. Like when you went to sleep for the night by accident.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah. God bless.
Let's look at some chat over here. Alex Dice Twice says, and he spelled this in so badly, but on the 5th day, God Howard rose again. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that. Macho Man's here and says, I see some pukesters to the left of me, some pukesters to the right. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's how you should have said it.
I know that's how I should have said it. It's not how I said it, though. Radek said I was talking like Venom earlier when I was saying that my insides were 2 people, apparently. Hulk Hogan showed up. This is a wrestling show now. So let me tell you something, brother. The Hulkster, here's Macho Man talking about his Hulkster having lust in his eyes for Miss Elizabeth, dude. Macho Man says Hulkamania is dead.
You don't need to watch WrestleMania on Netflix. You can just come here.
That no good sneaky Macho Man doesn't stand a chance against all the little Hulkamaniacs brothers. So Macho Man, what you gonna do when Hulkamania and his 24-inch pythons he wrote run wild on you, Jack? And then with the $5 super chat, Hulk Hogan swings in from the rafters and says, "Rock Gland Lovermania is running wild, dude." Thank you, Hulk Hogan.
Appreciate it.
The super chat always. Well, this is a show, believe it or not, about REM cycles and video games. And you can support it on Patreon over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We got a bunch of you over there hanging out with us, supporting us, which we really appreciate. Help us keep the lights on, as it were. Without your support, I'd look like this. I'm just saying. Just no lights. It's really corny,
No
but
lights.
it was easy
No
for me to do,
lights.
so I just did it. You know?
Sorry, headphone users.
Yeah, sorry. I turned the lights off. Closed captions. $1 a month, 25 cents an episode. It's worth it just to help support the boys. And you can also get ad-free early access on audio feeds. We appreciate you over there. Lots of you over there hanging out. On the audio feeds. Patreon, not as many. That's okay. Other place people are hanging out is in our Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. Come hang out with us. We like to talk. We like to celebrate big gaming moments together. We like to mock other users for their bad gaming takes. We like to be scared by Edwin always having an answer for everything, and even if it's wrong. So, you know, maybe you could do something quirky and we could mock you as well.
We're
Have
not
at it.
toxic. He's making it sound very toxic, but it's actually very nice.
Wholesome, one might add.
Yeah.
Are you
This is
saying to
coming
me
from a Canadian.
we haven't been toxic this whole time?
I'm a certified nice consultant. So
I don't know about all that.
Amen. He is Canadian. Okay, so take it easy.
There's no proof of that. Just so you know.
Say about. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that.
Let's talk about some news. This comes from Twisted Voxel, and it is called, or it says, Games for Windows Live Game License Activation Service no longer appears to be functional. Members of Discord channels for Shadowrun, Universe at War, and other Games for Windows Live titles are reporting that game license activations are no longer functional on the deprecated gaming platform. Based on what community members are saying, it appears that the activation service was recently shut down. The shutdown of license activation services on GFWL will undoubtedly come as a disappointment to game preservationists. As of now, licenses for games like Street Fighter X Tekken, Lost Planet 2, Shadowrun, and Universe at War cannot be activated on any other PC platform. It's up to the developers behind these titles to release them on alternate digital distribution platforms on PC, such as Steam and Epic Games Store, or GOG. Since 2022, users have been unable to sign in via the Games for Windows Marketplace client. However, the in-game overlay continued to function across all previously purchased titles, whether obtained digitally or through retail. For the uninitiated, Games for Windows Live was an online platform created for PC titles under the Games for Windows brand, allowing them to connect with Microsoft's Live network with a unique user tag and all that kind of stuff. Dave, what do you think about this? Is this just another nail in the coffin for us and a victory for Radic? Is this just the way it's going to be? Did anybody actually use this service at this point? How do you feel?
Yeah, it's and I have to admit, I was for a long time. I don't know if I was a digital kind of. I never championed digital, but I was always very forthright that I preferred it for convenience, value, and just simplicity. But the further we've got into this more and more digital age of gaming, the more I've kind of craved physical back, or kind of, remembered back to the golden years. So I paid more and more attention to these stories because this is a massive L for game preservation. And I think a lot of people look at Games for Windows and, we all kind of remember it as this weird, like, PC based offshoot of Xbox Live, but, and, it didn't really adopt all that well, but, it's worth kind of paying attention to this sort of thing because, what if, and this is a very far-fetched thing, but, think of all the digital libraries that people have on Steam and Epic Games Store, and you look over at consoles and, like, all of the games that you currently own that rely on an internet connection and a digital library. Like, if any of those stores shut down, and I know it's crazy to think, like we're looking at it in a very small sample, a small example here, but what's to say that couldn't happen in the future with Steam or PSN or something like that? And we're talking about stores getting completely just shut off. Support is ending for them, but these are massive single points of failure where, like, we have to think about other instances where this could happen. And so many of your games just rely on that connection to that server, and if it's gone, like, it's not a matter of you can't play online anymore. It's like the game just won't even boot up. You can't get anywhere with it. And we're starting to see that. And we really have to wrap our head around this changing concept of ownership, because it's just not the same. And we're going to see more things like this. And we're going to see bigger and worse examples of our games just not being there because cyber attack, support ending, somebody not wanting to fund a service anymore. These things cost money behind the scenes, and we're seeing everything else in the industry creep up in price, that there are going to be instances where this could happen. And I don't know. I'm not suggesting Steam is going to get shut down anytime soon, but it's just, you just kind of got to think about these things. And I've said it a couple times in the recent past where, if you haven't started stockpiling your old favorite physical games, and I suggest you do it now, because there might come a time where all the games that you think you own right now could be taken away from you very quickly. So, yeah, it's scary to think about, but they could be gone in an instant.
Brandon, you and I have somehow over the last couple of years converted Dave to being a physical Chad appreciator, even if not a consumer of them, by and large. But how do you feel about this news specifically?
Yeah, I mean, this does suck. Dave's absolutely right. I think we are slowly creeping towards a future where nothing is owned at all, ever. I think ideally these companies would have a situation where you couldn't play a game without paying them for a subscription first. And I think that's kind of the model we're going to in the future, and what kind of is subtly happening in a way with kind of licensing out games that you might physically have a disc for, but don't really mean much because they need validated through the internet. So yeah, Dave makes a great point. He said it pretty concisely. I don't like the way it's going. But this is more of a reason to invest in stuff like GOG and DRM-free gaming, and more of a reason to continue the push for games preservation, because, we talked about it a couple months ago. I feel silly. I should have Googled it while he was talking, but the organization that is really rallying for games preservation, we need to find a way to support them as people that love the medium, because stuff like this is being ripped away. And more stuff gets lost every day. And when these sort of things get shut down, if there's things that aren't making money, they'll get lost to time. They just will. And it might be your favorite game one day. So just be careful what you're buying. And this is more and more of a reason every single day to consider things like good old games that are able to actually install bootable things on your computers that do not require an internet connection whatsoever. So, yeah, man, it sucks. But even in the time we've been doing this podcast, I can't believe the leaps and bounds this sort of almost change has happened. We knew it was coming, but, it definitely is happening right before our eyes. And seeing it's a whole other thing altogether. It's kind of sad. So,
Yeah, this sucks and everything. Obviously, like you guys have stated. I want to offer a slightly different point of view, which is very different to my normal point of view. There's always the what ifs and the possibilities of Steam shutting down or PSN taking away our licenses or whatever. And we hear those freak stories about that happening and stuff. I think we're more likely to see a lot more of this kind of stuff where, yeah, Games for Windows Live was not very big, but it had a substantial user base. But I think we start seeing some more of these niche sites, niche services of days of old disappear. I don't think there's a scenario in which Steam or PSN really fully disappears. Now, that's not to say I don't think there's a scenario where they could take away a game, a specific game or a couple games or a library of a certain era or whatever. But I just find it to be less and less likely at this point. Now, again, you know me, that's not at all to say that's my preference. Like I still prefer physical where it makes sense, which is in most places, in my opinion. But I think we're less and less likely as time goes on to see like the big places we're buying games, like Steam or, or even EGS or PlayStation Network or whatever, ever disappear. I think the damage would be too catastrophic, like too big to fail at some point.
Have you considered the big dark?
Yeah. So assuming the world does not go into a nuclear holocaust or there's no EMPs activated that affect all the servers in the country. I meant aside from nuclear apocalypse, as long as commerce is still operating normally, I would imagine that those libraries of ours are safe. But there have been games.
Sorry, Brandon's the guy ordering Uber Eats in like a snowstorm, like calling Sony, why is PSN down?
Yeah. Again, I still don't like that because we have still seen instances of games just disappearing or the online server shut down, and even though you could play single player, the game doesn't work anymore or whatever like that. So I still don't think it's a perfect system. And I think that saying, okay, well, I know Steam's going to be safe, so I'm just going to keep buying my games there, that also isn't good because that cuts out other retailers and it eliminates competition and stuff like that. But I really do think we're at a point, as long as technology doesn't disappear and become non-functional, that by and large, our libraries are probably safe. With that said, I'm still buying everything that I can physical, so deal with it. Alex says, have you not thought about the heat death of the universe?
I've thought about it. Trust me. That's what keeps me up at night. We're talking about not sleeping. I think about it, man.
You know, there's something in me that says if the big dark were to occur, there's a pretty good chance my PlayStation would no longer have the power needed to boot up, whether because it wasn't available or because it wasn't prioritized. That's just my guess.
No, dude. If the apocalypse is happening, I will have a generator specifically for my electronics. Even if it's the last couple months of my life, I will enjoy it. I will die how I live.
That's when you need it the most, is in the last couple of months of your life, if you really think about it.
He wants to die playing Elden Ring, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
True. You died. I'm going to just like go.
You're going to die falling off something in Anne Orlando.
Yeah, for real.
Dave, this one affects you most directly out of the three of us, but it affects everybody. Comes from Insider Gaming. It says, Sony is raising the price of PlayStation. Dave, you want to read this since the train's going by?
Sure. Let me just pull it up here. This comes from Insider Gaming. Sony increases PlayStation Plus prices in the Great White North. Sony is raising the price of PlayStation Plus memberships for subscribers in Canada. A visit to the PlayStation Store in Canada shows that the price for a one-year subscription has increased to $109.99 Canadian for the base essential plan. The extra plan that includes access to Ubisoft Plus classics and the PlayStation Plus game catalog has risen to $189.99 Canadian for a year. Lastly, the premium plan that adds the classics catalog, game trials, and cloud streaming is now $224.99 Canadian for 12 months. Prior to the increase, PlayStation Plus in Canada went for $94.99, $154.99, and $189.99 for Essential, Extra, and Premium, respectively. That results in increases of 15.8% for Essential members, 22.6% for Extra, and 18.4% for Premium members. The news of the price increase comes on the heels of PlayStation Plus prices increases in other countries. Sony also announced that it was raising the cost of PlayStation 5 consoles and accessories in a number of regions as well, and we talked about that last week. So this obviously hasn't hit the center of the universe, which is the United States of America, obviously. But are you guys concerned? We have price increases in Europe on consoles. We have price increases on subscription services in Canada. And, we obviously had the fallout of the Nintendo Switch 2 games and console Are you guys getting worried? Ben, I'll start with you.
Yes and no. Yes, I'm getting worried because I like to play video games, and anything that affects the cost of video games decreases my enjoyment. I'm not getting worried because I don't think this is because Sony or Nintendo or anybody else is hurting. I think it's just the way it is. Like, it's just the way of the world. The inflation rates and everything like that are going crazy, and tariffs and everything else is messing everything up financially. So it sucks for me on a this is like the most personal level, right? Things cost more, therefore it hurts me more to buy them. But from a is it healthy point of view, is the system still working as it should? Seems like it. I don't get the indication that, you know, if PlayStation hadn't raised their essential prices for PlayStation Plus 16%, that I don't get the impression that they only did that because they were about to shut down and they had to do something. I think it was just like a natural next step that they had to do. So I don't like it, and it doesn't make me feel good. But I don't think it spells doom and gloom for anybody but the consumer directly. If that
Brandon,
makes
your
sense.
thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ben. I think this is just a changing of times and the way things are going. But I ultimately am not that worried about it as someone who is almost transferred over to a different ecosystem. Seeing all these increases in console prices is not a good news for me. It just means even more so that I'm less interested in PlayStation Plus month over month as the price goes up. So, um, yeah, I mean, I'm happier than ever to be playing on PC. Not that any of that is cheap, but the fact that I'm seeing the premium prices go up for things like Game Pass, and things like PlayStation Plus, it just makes me even more happy that I'm playing on a platform like Steam. So, um, yeah, just something to consider, guys. If this is getting too much month over month, just unsubscribe. All the Canadians unsubscribe for a couple months of PlayStation Plus for a year or two, and then save up and buy something that will return your investment within a couple years. So,
Dave, I want to personally apologize to you personally. I did not renew my PlayStation Plus subscription probably close to a year ago, and and that was because of the price increase everywhere. I was just like, I don't use it that much, whatever. And because of that, it seems it has negatively impacted you. So I apologize, but I still am not
That's
worried.
that's the reason.
Yep.
Yeah, I am. So we talked last week about console prices increases in Europe, and this week we're talking about PS Plus price increase in Canada. I wonder about the strategy here of like, why wouldn't you just do it all at once? Because we have to assume that this is probably coming for other regions. My only like guess is it has something to do with, you know, Sony, let's say as an example for the United States, hasn't landed on a price increase for the States. And there is a big difference if you look at these numbers between the price increase at the essential level versus the extra and the premium level. So I wonder if they're going to kind of measure the response over the first 3 months and then kind of tinker their approach that way when they do make these increases in other areas. But I think context is important. So I did do a bit of a comparison. So Canadian prices, I've rounded them up slightly, 110, 190, and $225 for the three PS Plus prices or PS Plus levels in Canada. Xbox Game Pass, slightly different service, but I think it's worth making a comparison. $145, $205, and $275 for the three respective levels of Xbox Game Pass. So Game Pass is still significantly more expensive. The interesting thing about Game Pass is they do not actively market their prices as annual. Most of the things that I see you only really see monthly. So those prices are the monthly prices multiplied by 12. Whereas with PlayStation Plus, they very much try to get you to sign up for the entire year. They want that commitment locked in, and you generally save a little bit of money. But the point is if you look at, PS Plus Premium in Canada, $225 after the price increase, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, $275. So that's a $50 difference for two premium level services. Granted, one has day one releases, which for me is the deal breaker. The other doesn't have that. It has, a big catalog, full access to online features, but Xbox still is a fair investment. So even after these price increases, this is still a ways off from what you're paying for Xbox Game Pass. So again, very different services, but I think it's worth comparing them. So I don't know. Maybe this doesn't really apply to you, Brandon, but Ben, if PS Plus jumped by $20 a month, are you batting an eye, or are you still there on a month-to-month basis, depending on what you're playing?
I mean, I'm not there already, so I probably still wouldn't be there. As I've become, I have been for a long time, but as I've played on PC more and more and more in the last decade, I've just relied less on console stuff. And really, the last thing that was keeping me holding on was like, I play the exclusives on PlayStation, if they're single player. But really, it was the saves and the free games every month. Having those saves backed up in the cloud was like, I was like, well, I'm just going to pay $80 this year to not have to deal with that, or making sure to claim all those free games every month. But then I was realizing, like, I think I've played one of them in the last 5 years that I've claimed, even though I've claimed all of them every month for that whole period. So I think it would not be good. That would be detrimental, just like this is detrimental to the consumer part of the industry. But it wouldn't affect me personally because I already don't subscribe. So it wouldn't be like I subscribe even less. I think at this point for me, PlayStation Plus is going to be one of those things where I'm only signing up a month or a couple months at a time if there's some immediate reason for me to do so.
Right.
And right now there just isn't. Yeah. Dave, you mentioned earlier about you wonder why they didn't do that messaging or that price increase at the same time as they did the console prices. I wonder, and I don't have any inside knowledge on this or anything, I just wonder if there's a different messaging type they needed to do. Like the physical stuff, the actual consoles themselves, that was more probably that they needed to get that information out to retailers as well, because the retailers needed to be aware. With the PlayStation Plus on just the online stuff, it's just like, well, just send it to consumers; they'll deal with it.
Yeah, no, I'm making the assumption that the PlayStation Plus price increase is going to come worldwide. So what I'm more questioning is if you're going to raise the prices of the service everywhere at some point, and again, that's the assumption, why are you just doing it region by region? And the only assumption I could make is there's some calculation and measuring of responses going on here. So
I thought you were saying, why didn't they do
the
price increase for the consoles and everything at the same time?
PR hell, probably.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Anything else to say on poor Canadians? Sorry, Dave. Sorry I canceled PS Plus, Dave. I'm personally holding myself responsible for you paying more that you're not paying anyway.
You know what? I'm sorry.
That's right. You should be. Number 3. This comes from Tech Stomper and the entire internet. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered has been officially released, it says. Is officially launched on Xbox Series X and S, PC, and PlayStation 5. The so-called remaster is a significant visual and mechanical overhaul, and is now, is now on game stores and Xbox Game Pass. The download size on Xbox and PC is 120 gig. All DLCs are included in the base game, along with the original horse armor. There you go. The deluxe edition, which is $59.99 US on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series S and X, will include an avatar of Akatosh and I never could say this, Baroons, Digging Armors, weapons, and alternate horse armor sets. The standard PC and console edition is $49.99. There's words like that where I've read those words in the game many times and never had to say them out loud. It's been 20 years or 15 years. I don't know, something like that. I never once had to say those words out loud until just this moment, even though I've read them. The game, produced by Virtuos Studios, was announced at 4 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. CEST today. On the 21st of April, At 12 Eastern, Bethesda announced that another announcement was to follow. The post contains few details, but a Roman numeral 4 were confirmed that it was indeed the Elder Scrolls 4 was up for discussion. On April 22nd, the phrase official reveal was added, dampening hopes for a same-day release. However, before Bethesda had even properly introduced Oblivion Remastered, it was available on PSN, Xbox Store, Steam, and all major storefronts. Virtuos have overhauled many aspects of the game beyond the visual upgrade. However, they claim to want to deliver the same experience. To that end, the conversation and lockpicking minigames return in the same form, but a bit more refined for Oblivion Remastered. There's lots of other information here about all the stuff that's been updated and improved or changed, etc. But by and large, the word on the street is this is a great remaster. And it's like a hybrid between a remake and a remaster from what I've been seeing. I haven't downloaded it. I haven't played it yet. But Dave, let's go to you first. Oblivion. Tell me your stories about your experience with Oblivion or how excited you are to get to it for the first time. I don't know.
I will admit I have not played Oblivion. I remember reading about this game a lot because I was big into the magazines when it was the hot ticket in the video game industry, and reading about the horse armor and all that drama. So I do have memories about this game, but never actually played it. And I have to say, this was the worst kept secret of April 2025. But when I saw the reveal today, I said it in the Discord. I said this appears to be a remake to me, and I was surprised to hear that they were still using the word remaster to describe it. So I think that Bethesda and Microsoft have collectively raised the bar for everybody when it comes to expectation on remasters. Sony, I hope you were paying attention today, because this is what we're looking for. This is a classic game. It has a lot of people have very fond memories of the series, whether it's Oblivion or Skyrim, whatever it is. So, it's going to be popular, and it's the perfect for a shadow drop. So I don't know when I'm going to play this. I'm knee deep in Avowed right now, which is a very similar game. So I don't really have the interest, but it's something people are excited about. And the value that we're getting at the moment for Game Pass cannot be argued. I'm currently, as I said, in the middle of Avowed. I just finished South of Midnight. Clair Obscur comes out later this week. Just had Oblivion dropped on my lap, and Doom is not far off. Man, these are all games that came out this year. So Game Pass is cooking at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. Brandon, are you interested in checking out Oblivion? Did you play the original?
I played a little bit of the original. I bought the Game of the Year edition after an extended and long journey with Skyrim. Many years of playing that, I thought to myself, you know what? Let's give it a try. I played for a couple hours, and guys, after playing Skyrim, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I just couldn't. The non-circle dungeons, the time had passed to where I felt like I was no longer able to get out of it what I should be. And that's been a while. I mean, this was back on 360 day, when I had a little bit less legs with older games. So my tolerance was much lower, but I am absolutely interested in this. I will be playing it at some point. I'm kind of knee deep in a couple different things right now. Pretty deep, actually, in a couple different things right now that are quite lengthy. But this is high on my priority list, very high. As someone who has a deep love, a very, very deep emotional connection with the game Skyrim, I have always wanted to give this game a fair shake. And there is no better way for me, as described with my first experience with Oblivion, than to try it now. So, yes, it looks great. I am very appreciative of all the extra work they put into it. I don't want to say I'm like the key demographic, but like someone who maybe tried it to begin with, and already had a large interest in the game, but just needed that little extra push. Like, I feel like it fits perfectly into what I want right now. So yeah, I'm there, boys. It looks so good. As soon as I got home, I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I did watch the whole reveal as soon as I got home, and man, I can't wait. Honestly, there's so many options. First, I have to decide what race I'm going to play. So that's the biggest and most bold. Do you guys have a preferred race in the Elder Scrolls universe? Are you
No.
a racist? Are you a racist, Nord?
I don't think there's a good way to answer that other than no. You can't. You can't show preference.
Can you play as Khajiit?
Yes.
I think
And
that's what I was in,
yeah.
in online. Yeah. Khajiit
And
has done that for
Argonian.
him.
I like me a good dark elf. You know, I don't know. We'll see, man. The possibilities are huge, huge, as they say. So I'm very excited. Very.
It's funny
very
what you
excited.
described. I think is probably pretty common. Where you have the Skyrim era where a lot of people kind of came of age as gamers on Skyrim, and then went to try out Oblivion, and it was just it's once you have Skyrim, you can't go back. So this is kind of a nice update that will get those people kind of into trying Oblivion because from
Absolutely.
all accounts, it's just as good, just a little bit more dated. So not the case anymore.
Yeah. The so I had never heard of Elder Scrolls by the time when this game came out. And about a year later, I was so I said earlier 20 years. This game came out in 2006, which was 19 years ago, almost exactly 19 years ago. And so the next year I would have been in college. My buddy was like, "Dude, you gotta check out Oblivion." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." He's like, "Well, it's the fourth game in the Elder Scrolls series." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And he let me borrow his copy. And after one night of playing the game, I was like frantically searching online for a used copy. I was in college, I had no money. So I ended up going onto the trading website Goozex, which, if you don't remember Goozex, it was a site where you could go on and post the games you had, and they were worth a certain amount of tokens. And you'd trade that game away, you paid for shipping and everything. You trade that game away, and you got those tokens, and then you could use those tokens to buy other people's games, essentially. So it was, it was the same thing, but without money. And different games were valued at different amounts. And I got it, and it was, first of all, the game was like a eye-opening experience. I put so many hours into that game. But the copy I got was the guy who sent it to me was in a Blockbuster like case or something like that. And he'd obviously just stolen and sent it off to me. I mean, maybe he bought it when it was on sale or something. Like, they put games on sale and they don't have the original cases, I guess. But anyway, that's how I played Oblivion the first time. And I remember a couple years later when they announced Skyrim, I was so over the moon because it was the next thing. And I went back in between when they announced Skyrim and when Skyrim came out, I went back and played Morrowind. And I felt with Morrowind the way that you felt with Oblivion when you played the original, Brandon. I couldn't go back further.
Yeah.
But then Skyrim came out, and it was amazing and everything, but there was a little piece of me that was like, but this isn't as good as Oblivion. And maybe that's just because I played Oblivion first,
Sure.
whatever. But Oblivion, I have not gone back and done. I may have put a couple hours into it in the last 15 years, but definitely nowhere in the realm of finishing it or anything. So I am excited for it. I was originally thinking, like, I don't need to play it again. I've played it already. And then I just, like, over the last couple of days, as more and more rumors and solidification of everything was coming out, I was like, man, I love Oblivion. I think I'm going to have to play it. So
Yeah.
I've got it loaded up and ready to play. But as Dave pointed out, I don't know when I'll get the chance because I really do want to play Clair Obscura. I really think it looks good. I don't know if I have the chops for it to finish it the whole way through, but it looks great.
Do we not have any Daggerfall Chads in the podcast?
So I have Daggerfall. I own
the
it.
second one.
Yeah. I've never tried to play it, though. It was one of those things where I bought it like for $4 in a GameStop used bin or something and never checked it out.
Absolutely metal name, though. I love that, dude.
Yeah. So I hope everyone out there who is listening is obviously playing Oblivion. I can't even imagine, dude, how many copies that the remaster is going to sell. Like, you've not only got everybody who loved Oblivion originally. You've also got everybody who just has to get in on the hype because it's huge. But then you've got 2 decades, almost 15 years of Skyrim love that all those people who are like, I gotta see what was before it, are going to go check it out. It's going to be astronomical. Like, I don't know. You have Game Pass, but even with Game Pass, you still had over, like, it was 150K today concurrence on Steam. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 169. And when did this pop? In the middle of the day?
Yeah, like
11
late this
o'clock.
afternoon. 11. Okay.
169 only on Steam, presumably where a lot of the audience might not even be playing it on Steam.
Right.
But
Radic wants to go ahead,
They
Dave.
waited until the Skull and Bones free weekend was over to
Yeah.
make this announcement.
That was smart to get out of their way.
Yeah.
Out of respect for the game. Game recognizes game, Dave. That's what they say, man.
Radic wants to know if we think it's bad timing for Clair Obscur and Days Gone Remastered. I don't think. I think Days Gone Remastered would have probably gone to the top of the charts no matter when Oblivion came out. It's just right up there at the top, 100 million
Right.
currents.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Clair Obscur, I do think it's potentially detrimental to it because, yeah, it's on Game Pass, but like, if you're somebody who isn't able to buy a brand new game every week or and multiple times a week or whatever, and you were thinking about getting Clair Obscur, but Oblivion's out and it's out first, you're picking up Oblivion.
I don't know what happens after Doom, but I think Radic brings up a good point that I just kind of mentioned the lineup in the first half of the year for Game Pass has been fantastic, but if there's nothing after Doom, it couldn't have hurt to release this in the summer, you know, because it is a little crowded at the moment. I don't really care about Days Gone Remastered, but you don't want to overshadow your own big thing, especially when it's a new IP, but hopefully it doesn't.
Dave, you don't care about a remaster of a game that came out in 2018?
No, believe it or
Weird.
not, no. But
That's really weird. Not a real gamer. All right, let's get on to our last news story of the night. Xbox cloud gaming usage breakdown reveals surprising device trends. This comes from clouddosage.com. And it says Xbox shared a new look at how gamers are streaming through the cloud. And the numbers show just how spread out their habits have become. During a GDC 2025 session, Microsoft revealed that 140 million hours of games were streamed via Xbox Cloud Gaming from October to December 2024. This is just the last quarter of the year. And showed charts with data showing which devices saw the most Xbox Cloud Gaming hours in December. And while you might expect phones or handhelds to lead, it's actually consoles and TVs topping the list. The breakdown highlights how cloud gaming isn't tied to one screen or setup. People are streaming games on everything from Xbox One consoles to smart TVs, Windows PCs, and web browsers. That flexibility, being able to pick up your save anywhere or on just about anything, is starting to reflect in how people play. Let's move down to where the cloud is getting used the most. The charts from December show a clear trend. Xbox Cloud Gaming is most popular on traditional screens. Xbox One consoles came out on top, followed closely by smart TVs and Windows PCs. All three were within a few percentage points of each other, making up the majority of usage. The Xbox Series X and S wasn't far behind either. This shows that many are using the cloud to try games before downloading or to keep playing while away from their main setup. Surprisingly, mobile usage landed near the bottom. I don't know how that's surprising to anyone who's ever listened to the three of us talk, which is obviously a lot of people. Despite its portability, phones accounted for a surprisingly small share of total hours. Other desktops and miscellaneous devices, including handhelds, Chromebooks, and Fire TV sticks, rounded out the chart. While they're not dominant yet, the fact that they're represented at all shows how cloud gaming has quietly expanded to a wide range of screens. During the talk, Microsoft emphasized that cloud gaming isn't meant to replace consoles or PCs, it's meant to support them. For many, it's an easy way to test a game without waiting for a download. For others, it's their only way to play. And the data backs that up. Some use cloud streaming to keep their Xbox One relevant. It's about the only thing you could do, I guess, at this point. Others jump through a smart TV app or web browser without ever owning a console. Xbox has leaned into that flexibility by building support into more and more devices and letting your progress move with you. I think this is really interesting, guys, because, the three of us, none of us are really cloud gamers or streaming gamers. But I will admit on occasion when I've had Xbox Ultimate in the past, I have done it, just to see how a game was going to work before I downloaded it. And now, I have really fast internet and I have a decent PC that can hold all the games and everything. So this isn't as much of a barrier for me. But there have definitely been times where I was just like, both actually on my Xbox as well. I've tried streaming a game just for like a few minutes just to see how it works. And so it'd be very easy if the game lended itself to it to just play that game through streaming, because why not? And it's also incredibly easy just to close it and say you never want to play it again. And then you didn't have to waste the download space and delete the game off your console and everything else. It's you close it and it's gone. So it's very appealing. I can understand it. I'm just still worried about, not worried, but wondering about the advances in technology to make it available to a wider group of people. And mainly, I mean, internet bandwidth and speeds and all that kind of stuff. But enough of me babbling on. Dave, talk to me.
Yeah, I've been curious to try this. And it'll be interesting because I don't think I have the internet that you guys do. I think it's fine, but it's probably isn't as strong as what you guys have. But I do have an LG TV and Xbox Cloud support hasn't come yet, but it has been announced. But connected to that LG TV, I do have a Google TV, so it can run on that. And I do have Game Pass Ultimate at the moment, and this is perfect for me because my main gaming setup is here. I'm in front of, I have my computer here, I have my PlayStation, my Xbox, my 360. It's all, this is where I want to game. But there are times when I would rather sit on my couch and play something from a little bit further away, or just, I want to be a little bit more comfortable than sitting here. And this is the perfect way to try it. And I think that the way that we're talking about this now is exactly what Microsoft wants to hear. I think we've been talking the last 3 weeks about price increases and console prices going through the roof and all that kind of stuff. And I just think like somebody needs to think outside of the box, no pun intended, when it comes to how we deliver and how we consume our games. And streaming has been sort of on the side of our radars for a really long time, but we always knew that the things that was holding it back was just technology. And I think that technology is kind of here now. So, I don't know. I think Microsoft has been stockpiling like an awesome selection of IP over the last several years, and they've set up a really good infrastructure and subscription service. So, and then you look at these usage trends, and a diversified set of mediums that people are using is nothing but a good thing. If you had everybody just using one medium, that's not a healthy approach. But given that this streaming is meant to be, across multiple devices, and if you look at the graph, there's 3 different devices that are taking up almost equal shares of the usage. That's excellent. That not everybody's just doing it on their phone, but it's split between TV, Xbox One, surprisingly, and I can't remember what the third one was, but like Microsoft's in a really good spot, and I hope they keep pushing this because, if the PlayStation 6 costs $1,000 and it's barely an upgrade over the PS5 Pro, then it's like, I don't know, why do I want to spend that money? That's a massive barrier. So I'm excited to see where this is going. I'm excited to try it. I might do it later tonight, and yeah, it's only going to get better. So why not?
Brandon, where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly an indicator of the push that Xbox has been trying for. 140 million hours of games were streamed via Xbox Cloud Gaming. Everything is an Xbox, and they said that up front. So clearly that's starting to take hold. Buying into their ecosystem is a part of that, and I think that giving consumers options on where to play ultimately will continue to draw that consumer back into your ecosystem. So I think this is very smart. I love the idea of the smart TVs. We knew this was a thing coming, and that it was happening, but I love the idea of that functionality, and I'm glad to see that a lot of other people have kind of latched onto that as well. And that's something that continues to grow in the trend. I find it kind of interesting that the Xbox One consoles are getting so much love. That note to, of the entire article here really stood out to me as interesting that demographic, the older demographic, even in the same ecosystem, was so greatly using something that's a new feature on your platform. So I think that that's even, says something about the ecosystem in general, that even your older player base is still willing to adopt this new form of consumption. I think that's really cool, and to see how big the pie chart is with the 3 big ones here. I mean, it's cool, man. I think that we've had leaps and bounds with streaming games in the past 5 years. as someone who likes to play natively, I'm not there yet with all kinds of games. I wouldn't want to play every game like that, but it's something that is pretty comparable with most experiences now, and that's something I'm interested in. It gets me more interested in it, whereas it was never something 5 years ago that I would even fathom.
The one point, obviously, this is the whole reason they're doing it, but the underscored part here that we haven't really talked about yet is the subscriptions. In order to use Xbox Cloud Gaming, you must have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, which is the highest tier of Game Pass that they offer and the most expensive. And 140 million hours of games and of game streaming in 3 months. I don't know what the average user is streaming, but or how many hours, but that's quite a few subscriptions. And if they're not buying your hardware, they're probably still buying a controller, and they're signing up for your service, and you're getting that recurring revenue. And there's a guarantee in my mind. This isn't a real guarantee. There's a guarantee in my mind that those people who aren't willing to shell out $300 or $500 for one of your consoles, but they can spend 50, 60 bucks on a controller and 35 or whatever, however much Game Pass Ultimate is, 30 bucks, whatever, a month. That makes it much more palatable for many more people. So they're probably attracting more people to the ecosystem than they would by just, putting out another console and calling it a day.
Right.
So it's a smart move. I don't know if it's Xbox's saving grace by any means, but Xbox, we've said for a long time, is no longer in the console business. They're barely in the publishing business, if you really think about it. They're in the subscription business, and it's, by all accounts, seems to be working out for them.
Yeah.
All right, guys, anything else news related that you want to talk about? In that case, let's move on to what we have been playing. Brandon, you've got a very unusual assortment. Not very unusual, an unusual assortment, but yeah, we'll let you take it first.
Sure. I've been hopping around to a bunch of different things, as what I'm about to talk about will be very apparent. And I've been doing that for a couple weeks now, and nothing's really been landing. But yeah, I just randomly got the itch after seeing more stuff about Soros. I thought to myself, you know what? I have it on PC. I'm going to try Returnal again. I really liked when I played it last time. I kind of fell off. I don't remember it. I don't think it was necessarily a testament to the game, but I wanted to give it a go. And I can confidently say that, this is an amazing game. I thought that back then. I knew it was me falling off and not the game itself, but I've had a lot of fun playing that on PC. It runs and looks really good with my new card. And yeah, doing a little bit of streaming. It's really been fun having people in there that have played the game and been able to help me out with that. It's very difficult, but not quite as intimidating as I remember it. I'm not minimizing it. It's a very difficult game, but I remember playing it on console and I was like very intimidated. Let's say that. So yeah, it's great, man. It's great. I don't have anything profound to say about it other than I'm really enjoying it, and I think the gameplay loop is really, really fun. I hope not to fall off, but honestly, so much stuff is falling in my lap right now, as I'll be talking about here. But I also restarted Persona 5 because I wanted something that I wasn't playing at my desk, because sometimes when I sit at my desk all day at work, I don't want to sit at my desk when I get home. And so I started a new save of Persona 5, maybe a little over 10 hours in, and I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass because I can easily borrow someone's Persona 5 Royal, and I kind of wish I would have done that. So I don't know if I'm going to take a pause on that and kind of regroup to play the better version of the game, because it even performs better from what I understand. It's a solid 60 and you get all the new and updated content. So yeah, I kind of wish I hadn't started that, but I did. Love that game, man. I absolutely love it. It's too long, but I do love it. And last but certainly not least, I watched the second episode of the Last of Us television show last weekend. And good old Uncle Sam finally sent me in my tax return, which was about a piddly $100. And so with that piddly $100, I said, you know what, Brandon? Treat yourself. So I went ahead and shilled out for Sony this week, boys, and I bought again, physically, The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5. So I don't have any justification. I just wanted it. But it goes one step further. I also bought physically The Last of Us Part 2 remastered as well, because I thought to myself, you know what? I've not bought some physical games in a minute. These are some of my favorite games of all time. Yes, am I shilling for Sony? Did I pay full price? No. No, I did not. I would not. But I saw the news of the collection coming in July, and I thought to myself, not only could I have 2 physical games, but I could save $10 by doing it this way. So for about $90 US, I got both of these games. And yeah, thanks, Uncle Sam. Thanks for nothing. Make the roads
That was
and the
your
schools
money
better.
already, by the way.
I know. But still. Yeah, so I started The Last of Us Part 1. Again, it looks amazing. I'm lightly considering doing a plat run. It's very possible that The Last of Us Part 1 has kind of killed my Persona run, aside from the questionable decisions I've already mentioned previously. But the platinum is much, much, much more accessible in The Last of Us Part 1 than it is The Last of Us Remastered. And for that reason, I have an itch that I'm trying to scratch right now. So I would love to go through Part 2 again. We'll see what kind of momentum I hold through Part 1. But I just wanted to own it because I know I do want to replay it again someday, and I'd rather play the best version of it, plain and simple. So, yeah,
Why
boys.
didn't you just buy the upgrade for it?
Upgrade for...
Didn't they put out like an upgrade, just an upgrade path for 2?
Maybe. I don't know.
Just checking.
Yeah, maybe. But I was on the physical kick. I was like, I don't know, man. Even if it was $20, like I paid... So what? I paid $15 extra for a disc. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
Cool.
it. That's it, boys.
None of those had Resident or Evil in the title.
I know, dude. I know, but I did do some streaming this week.
Are you
Let's
Twitch
go,
partner yet?
baby. No, dude. I still need more subs. I'm getting decent views, honestly. My Returnal streams have been like doing really well. I'm glad everyone's coming out. I appreciate it greatly, but it's just so hard. There's so much good shit coming out this year, and that's why at the beginning of the year I said to myself I really need to have a concise push through these ones that I'm less interested in. And then the day that I stopped playing Resident Evil 1 was the last, I've not touched it since. So I don't know, man. You never know. Crunch time. I'm gonna tell the podcast now. I got a new job, so my schedule and things might be changing here. With thank you. With how much time I'm gonna have, I'm gonna be working more hours per day, but less days. So I'll have a whole extra day to play games, or sleep. But yeah, it's gonna be good, boys. That's like one extra day to play Resident Evil, Dave. A week.
So you pulled this shit last year with Red Dead. That was one game, okay? Resident Evil-
No.
how
Hold up, though. Wait a minute. Some may right. Yes, I will counterpoint you. Yes, it was one game, but the amount of time I put into that one game will finish me like 4 or 5 of these games. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's
only half of them.
Yeah. And 6 is many hours.
Listen.
Hulk Hogan pops in and says, "Tell us about Returnal, brother." He already did, Hulk. You just weren't listening. Apparently.
Dude, Hulk, Returnal, my boy. Shit's hard. Looks beautiful. Plays really fun. It's solid, man. I want to try co-op so bad, Ben. If you, I know it's busy. I want to try co-op with somebody, dude. It's unfortunately not cross-play, but I feel like that would be so lit. Have you tried it, Ben?
Have I tried the co-op?
Yeah.
No.
No? Yeah, I feel like it'd be so fun. I don't know how long that game is. I'm in the third world, so in a couple hours I got to where I played. I don't know if I played like 10 hours or something on PS5, maybe like, between 5 and 10, something like that. But I much I was much quicker in jumping to where I was the first time, and I'm essentially where I was the first time in a couple hours. So
Brandon, I can tell you, after I got through all the BS of Sony breaking my stuff and their customer support people,
I
like
know, I
after that whole
know.
ordeal, I did go in, I did play a good bit of Returnal, and I remember it taking me a long time to get through the first world. I jumped in probably about a month or 2 months ago for an hour, and in two runs, two lives, I got through the first world.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
I
Me
was
too.
like, how? Like, it took me forever
Right.
when I played it on console.
Yeah,
So
maybe just the familiarity a little bit.
yeah,
maybe.
there's definitely that piece of it. That's definitely a part of it. But also, real quick before we move on to Dave here, Raddick says, Brandon, did you buy your tickets for the Until Dawn movie this weekend? Raddick, I know that was a joke that you asked because everything you asked is a joke.
But yes,
But we haven't bought them yet. But we've planned to go.
we've mentally bought the tickets.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
They actually weren't available to buy when we tried to buy them last week.
We just haven't financially bought the tickets, but mentally we're locked in. We're locked in. I'm actually a little bit ready to be disappointed, but that's okay.
I'm very ready to be disappointed.
I'm a little bit ready to be disappointed, but we will see. We'll report back next week.
Dave, tell us what you've been playing.
Just quickly back to the Housemark thing. I like to think that the guy who handled your support ticket from Housemark, who then went on to screw up the European ratings for Balatro and got it delisted, I hear he probably was the same guy who wrongfully sold a copy of Oblivion online on a Blockbuster case many years ago.
The same guy.
He's following you around.
Yeah, dude, he's fucking with your gaming experience for years now. But yes, real quick, Raddick, I'm a huge fan of Until Dawn, like huge fan. Not the rest of them. The rest of them are whatever. But Dave,
Yeah, so South of Midnight, I finished it. When we talked last week, I had said that I was really enjoying the story, the characters, the voice acting, the visuals, the style, all of that surface level stuff. Well, it's not surface level, but there wasn't a whole lot of game there, and I regretfully say that the game didn't really materialize into much. Unfortunately, I kind of opined at that gameplay pattern that it fell into. Go into a level, collect 4 things, chase sequence, chapter done. That repeated again throughout the rest of the game. There was one chapter where it was much more puzzle focused, and I thought, this is cool. This is a decent platformer, and this kind of stuff is fun. I wish they would have done a little bit more than this, but yeah, the vast majority of the chapters just followed that exact same formula. And it got to a point where I was just kind of not really paying attention to the story as much. And if you have a 10-hour game that feels like it drags on, like, that's not a good thing. So I do want to say that there is the main antagonist. His name is Rue. He kind of reveals himself a little bit more in the end of the game, and he's a fucking awesome character. He is so cool, but he is so underutilized. And I just thought, like, why wasn't this guy like front and center for the entire game? But it wasn't the case. So story kind of ended, just kind of fizzled out. I'm really glad I played this game. It's perfect for Game Pass. But if I had paid full price for this game, I think I would have been disappointed. I fully expect this game to deservingly get Game of the Year nods, nods at the Game Awards for things like narrative, story, characters, stuff like that. And I think that's rightfully so. But I think, yeah, this game is worth checking out. But just I would come in with low expectations from a gameplay perspective. So yeah, Avowed, I'm past the honeymoon stage and I'm still loving this game. I really love the weapon and armor upgrading mechanics. It's really giving me an attachment to the stuff that I find. I'm currently using a really cool shield with like an ice axe, and I have a musket in my offhand or as my secondary, and I got a little bit of magic going on. Like, it just feels very varied, and the combat just feels so good. As much as I loved the Outer Worlds, I did not enjoy its gun focused combat as much, but and then I look at something like Skyrim, and I just found that combat so light and just not impactful. This is somehow just like made a couple tweaks to feel it's so good. So Yeah, I'm loving Avowed. A little bit disappointed that Claire Obscura is coming out this week because I kind of just want to focus on this. But yeah, this game is really really good. So I'll stop it there. Ben.
Nice. This week I continued to play Hunt with my buddy Jimmy a decent bit. This is not really to tell you anything new about the game, just to let everybody know I am now into Prestige 9, about a quarter of the way through to Prestige 10. So I will, unless something crazy happens, I should be completing this resolution for the year to get to Prestige 10. That will make 2 out of 3 that I will have completed. So not gonna say I'm leading, or anything like that, or that I'm gonna, that Brandon's gonna lose, but just putting it out there. Next, RuneScape Dragon Wilds. They shadow dropped this after having mentioned it only shortly before that. For those who don't know, this is a survival crafting RPG set in the RuneScape universe. You heard survival crafting, and you knew that was going to be all Ben, but what you didn't know is that way back in the day, I was really into RuneScape. And I'm talking like way, way back in the day, like high school Ben was into RuneScape. Maybe not as in-depth as some people were, but I used to play some RuneScape. So this was an easy, immediate play for me. I've probably only got like 5 to 6 hours into it so far. Just been a little bit weird on the timing with, Easter weekend and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, it's a solid early access game at this point. So far, the building system feels really good. The crafting system feels great. There's a few obviously unfinished things that they're still working on and will continue. The exploration's fun. The objectives are done in a cool way where it points you there with things on the top of your screen rather than like listing what you need to do next on the side. I like that mechanic after I got used to it. At first, I was not a fan of it, and then quickly I was like, oh, this is so much better because I can see more of the screen now. So far it's been fun. Like I said, I'm early on and it is early access, so I don't have a tremendous amount to say about it. But it feels very much like the survival crafting type of game that I like. Very Valheim in some respects, not the art style necessarily, but the type of survival crafting game that it is reminds me of that a lot. So I'm sure I will sink too many hours into that before it comes out of early access, and then once it comes out of early access, I will probably never touch it again because that's for some reason what I do with early access games. The other thing I've been playing, Cobra Kai: The Karate Kid Saga continues. This is one of those games where I love Cobra Kai. I love the show Cobra Kai. I love the original Karate Kid movies as well, but I really like the Cobra Kai series that just wrapped up after 6 seasons just recently. And I've seen this game and I knew it was just like a cheap movie tie-in game. Game Mill Entertainment published it. I knew it was probably going to be like bottom tier effort. And then by the time I saw this, there was already a second one out. The second one has like really bad reviews, like not even in mixed on Steam. It's just like, this is bad. It says on, I think that's the exact what it says on Steam. Underneath like the description, it says this is bad. But the first game is very positively reviewed. And it was on sale. I think it's normally $20. It was on sale for like $2.99 one day and popped up because it was on my wish list. I immediately bought it. I just knew I had to. It's an old school style beat 'em up, brawler kind of game. But you are characters from the Cobra Kai show, and it actually ties in like different storylines from the Cobra Kai show. And of course, it's using different character models. And where there are voices, they're the voices of most of the original of the actual cast. It's not very good. Like it's a lot of fun, but it's not very good. Like it's pretty subpar. But it's a classic style beat 'em up with the story and tie-in with the Cobra Kai show, and that's exactly what I needed because Cobra Kai is supposed to be stupid and goofy, and so is this game. So for $3, it goes on sale pretty regularly. So if you're at all interested, I would go ahead and give it a wish list or something and check it out when it comes out, or when it goes on sale. I probably wouldn't pay $20 or $25 for this, whatever it let's see, what is it normally listed at? I can't even see what it is. Oh, literally right now, the sale I bought it on and is $1.99. $1.99. So I would pay $1.99 for it. I would not pay the $24 that it normally is. And the second one is apparently just actually broken. Not just like a bad game, but actually broken. So maybe don't go there. But anyway, I think it's a lot of fun, and I'm having fun with it. But it's not good. It's just goofy and in the world that I love. So I'm enjoying it. Anybody get the Marathon Alpha invite? No, I have not. Brandon has not. Dave, have you? I'm sure you would have told us.
No.
Dave, are you holding out on us?
No, I didn't sign up for it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's all for the show tonight. Don't forget you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/handsupephantom for as little as $1 a month. You can also join us over on Discord at handsupephantom.com/Discord. Anything else, boys? Anything else for the good of the order tonight?
No love, Macho Man. The opposite of Hulk Hogan, one might say.
Yeah, savage, as it were.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, Savage seems to go with the name. All right, in that case, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We appreciate you. We will see you next week, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, or whenever you listen. Goodbye.
See ya.